All righty, brand new Flyers Daily for the 14th of May, 2025. Flyers Daily presented by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live. Our Flyers Exit Day interview series will continue in this episode. This will be number 2. Garnet Hathaway coming up on Friday. But in today's episode, we have a little sit-down conversation with Flyers defenseman Cam York. Lots to discuss. Cam York, a very reserved, quiet player, very emotionally under control, but he had a very noisy season, maybe is a way to put it, if that makes sense. There was a little, maybe too much noise around Cam York. We'll talk to him about his season, about moving forward, about his contract, and also about returning next year with a chip on his shoulder, and why that is. So we'll hear that from Cam York coming up in a minute. Coaching search continues, and some of the rumors heating up from some of the top newsbreakers around the NHL, whether that be Elliot Friedman, Darren Dreger, John Butchergrass getting in on the action as well. And it was interesting because it seemed the other day as if Elliot Friedman was saying that Rick Tocchet was not looking likely to take another head coaching job, or things were kind of quiet on the Flyers front with him. Then Darren Dreger reported he's at the top of the Flyers list. Elliot Friedman said that Rick Tocchet is not being interviewed for coaching jobs. He's kind of interviewing teams for coaching jobs, whether that's Philly, Boston. I think he said Seattle was interested as well. So we'll see. And then John Butchergrass puts out a tweet with a picture of Tocchet and just tagged with the Flyers on it. And usually when you see that it's a pretty good indication that something is about to happen. And when you have the names and the credibility of Elliot Friedman or Darren Dreger or John Butchergrass, it lends to that. And again, I've said I don't know. We've gone through Tocchet's resume if he is the right guy for this job. On Monday's episode, Bill and I discussed the character traits that we feel are very important and that we value in the next head coach. I said the number one thing for me is that the coach has to be a leader of men. I believe Tocchet is that, but that still doesn't mean he's the right guy for this job. But what I want to focus on, because there's going to be a ton of debate. If they hire Rick Tocchet, half of the Twitter is going to melt down because he's a former Flyer. Half of Twitter is going to love it. And it's just going to be just exhausting. And the people that value certain analytics are going to say he does not a good coach because he's not going to be good for Mishkov, all this stuff. And because you coach one way with one team doesn't mean you coach the exact same way with another team. You're always learning as a coach and evolving along the way. And I think part of this process in leaving Vancouver for Rick Tocchet is, self-evaluating himself as well, going, maybe I could have handled this situation better, or I could have coached this player this way, or I could have done this that way. They're always learning and they're always evolving. It's just like you at your job, and you leave your job and you go to your next job. You go into your next job with a different baseline of skill set and knowledge and experience, and you take that to the next place. NHL coaching is no different. These are human people. They just happen to coach hockey for a living at this point in his life, as opposed to doing Joe Smith's accounting or whatever it might be. So, look, if they hire Rick Tocchet, I love Tocchet. I've known Tocchet a long time. I like him personally. Is he the right coach? I have no idea. I'll keep those two things separate. But one thing that I will do immediately is get my ass off of Twitter, because of the Twitter GMs that are on there that will just demand that is an idiotic hire because he played for the team, which to me is incredibly limiting, incredibly closed-minded and dumb. I don't care that he played for the team. I just want the right freaking coach here so we can get the playoffs back on the ice in Philadelphia. Because I'm watching these playoffs every night. And I want to be a part of that action. So if Rick Tocchet's the right coach and they hire him, great. If they hire him and he's not the right coach, we'll deal with that. But Jesus, I'm going to have to stay off social media because it's going to drive me crazy. That's where I am on it. But what can we learn by who they hire? Whether that's Rick Tocchet or whether that would have been David Carl, or, you look at coach hirings. I look at the New York Rangers, and they acted very quickly when Mike Sullivan got let go in Pittsburgh, and they jumped on Mike Sullivan. What did that tell me? It tells me that they're not going to go through a rebuild right away. They're looking to try and win with what they have and make some little moves to beef the Rangers back up, because they believe that the team 2 years ago that won the President's Trophy is more likely to return under new coaching next year than the team that this past season under Peter Laviolette really struggled. And I don't think Laviolette had anything to do with it. I think it was all the general manager screwing up and having things get public. And Chris Drury, the Trouba situation, Zibanejad, Kreider, all of it. I think that all played into it more than coaching did. But the general manager had a chance to fire the coach, Peter Laviolette, who was great the year before and won a President's Trophy, and bring in his next new guy, and that's Mike Sullivan, who is an existing relationship. So I think that hire tells me what their plan is for the next 3 years, is to try and use this core and try and push for a cup. And I think it's the right plan. I would agree with their plan. That's what I would do as well. When you look at the hiring of Joel Quenneville in Anaheim, take the polarization out of it. But what does that say about Pat Verbeek and the Anaheim Ducks? It tells me that they're a team that is tired, is ready to start moving forward and start bringing in additions that are going to help them win games, that they're going to start pushing for the playoffs again. That's why they brought in a guy like Joel Quenneville, who won 3 cups in Chicago. Eventually was let go in 2021, I believe, in Florida when the Kyle Beach situation came up. So that's what it tells me. So whoever the Flyers hire, I think it'll be an indication. It'll be sort of a roadmap as to how the timing of their arc moves forward. I think Danny Briere's made it really clear that the arc of building back up now is going to begin. So I think you got to get a coach that reflects that. You still got to have a coach that develops young talent because you got a lot of it here and more coming, especially with all these draft picks and everything. But a coach also that can move the group forward. So I think it'll be telling by who they hire, trajectory of their arc in moving forward and becoming, once again, a team that is ticketed for the playoffs and ticketed to begin battling in those playoffs as well. And if Rick Tocchet comes here, to me, I'll make the assumption, and I'll ask Danny Briere about this when we get him on, but I'll make the assumption that, that Briere and the Flyers indicated the plan to him that this is what we plan on doing. And the reason why a guy like Rick Tocchet would accept that job when he's got multiple opportunities is because he believed in the plan of the general manager and that the organization presented to him. So I think it'll be very telling if Rick Tocchet is the next head coach or whoever it is. We'll learn more. If it was Pat Ferschweiler from Western Michigan, that would tell me something different. I think if it's Tocchet or another established certain coaches, I think that is telling on the Flyers' plan on how aggressive they plan to be on a certain timeline to get back into that mix. So we'll see what happens. It looks like things are heating up. I'd said that on Monday's episode. It feels like something's going to pop here soon. Maybe it does. Maybe it pops even before this episode comes out and you get to watch it. I don't know. But we're taping this as of 6:47 on Tuesday night. So we'll see where it goes. And we'll learn something by who they hire as the next bench boss of the Philadelphia Flyers. So we'll find that out. Let's get to our Flyers exit day interview series. Cam York really, I called it a noisy season last year for a really calm, quiet player off the ice and a very intense competitor and a very confident athlete. It was very noisy around Cam York last year. It just got off to an uneven start. He got injured in the beginning of the year, tried to find a rhythm to his play, which was difficult. Then he was a little bit in and out of the lineup. You've seen some changes in D partners. His usage was down a minute 50 seconds per game less than the year prior, where I thought he had a really good season. Development in the NHL at any position, and in particular at the D position, is not a straight line. You're not going to have one season where you go like this, up, and then another, next one's that. Sometimes you're going to have a little dip, but ultimately to go back up when you get to your prime. I think that's what last year was for Cam York. He's going to talk about having a chip on his shoulder, and I think that's a good thing. I really do in Cam York's situation. I'm looking forward to seeing how this RFA contract expiration kind of takes place this offseason. He's doing a new contract. What does that contract look like? Is it a long-term contract? Is it short-term? We'll see. The contract he just finished in the 24-25 season was for $1.6 million, it's $3.2 million total cap, 2-year contract, but a $1.6 million cap hit. Does he sign another 2 or 3 year bridge deal at 4.8? We'll see. He played top pairing minutes the year prior, so he's going to get a raise. He played 22 minutes and 37 seconds average ice time per game in the 23-24 season, second most on the team, only to Travis Sanheim. This year he played 20 minutes and 47 seconds. His numbers were down, only played 66 games, 4 goals, 13 assists, 17 points. The year prior, though, all 82, 10 goals, 20 assists, and 30 points. And like I said, he averaged 22.37 per game. Another number that jumped out to me year to year on his stats. Now I know he played 16 more games the year prior, but he had 134 shots on goal in 23-24. Last year, he only had 65 shots on goal. I like to see him get that number back up as well. I like to see more shots, more contributions on offense from defensemen on this Flyers team. Jamie Drysdale started to pick up in that regard in the second half of the season. Travis Sanheim had a great first half of the season. Didn't pick up as many points in the second half. We'd like to see Cam York get on the action as well. So here is my conversation with the Flyers defenseman, our Flyers Exit Day interview series with Cam York. Another edition of Flyers Daily as we go through our exit interview series from Exit Day of the 24-25 season. And joining us right now is Flyers defenseman from out of Anaheim, California, Cam York. Cam, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me today. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in, and we're grinding.
Awesome.
And the season is a grind.
Yes, it is, yeah.
As you wrap up this season, what are your emotions kind of as it's all said and done? You have to maybe learn from it, park it, and move on from it.
Right, yeah. It was a frustrating year for me. Things didn't really go my way from the start of the year, getting hurt.
Is that a shoulder?
Yeah, shoulder injury. Kind of just took some wind out of my sails, it felt like, and it was tough for me to, find a good rhythm after that. And, I wasn't good enough in, a few areas of the game, I felt like. And, what was a frustrating year for me. But, I guess looking at it from a different perspective, obviously going to learn from, the mistakes of my game and whatnot. But I think it's important, too, to look at it from a positive side, too. I think that having a year like this where things don't go your way will be good for my foundation as a player later in my career. And
I totally agree.
I'll be able to look back on this year and be like, wow, okay, I learned a lot that year. So, that's my mindset. I'm going to go into this offseason, reset, assess my game, have a great, gym schedule, get after it, and come back into next season with the right mindset and a confident mindset, and I'm excited to get back after it again next year.
Cam, that can only happen if you have that, what you just talked about, that self-accountability and reflection.
Yeah.
Like some players and athletes don't have that.
Yeah.
They don't want to look in the mirror sometimes. If you have that, then development is not a straight line. Mm-hmm. You can go up, and we talked about it last year. I thought you were the single best individual player storyline a season ago. And then you have a lot of adversity this year. You're dealing with injury. You can't get into that rhythm. But what you do with that doesn't define you. It's how you rebound from it.
Absolutely, yeah. Not every season is going to be sunshine and rainbows,
Yeah.
So I'm aware of that. This year wasn't my year, but I have all the confidence in the world that I can come back next year, reset my mind and have a great season. So
fuels you, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Tough year this year, but like I said, more than confident I can come back next year and do some great things. So I'm looking forward to it.
Because you can do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dealing with an injury, a shoulder for a defender, that's a difficult. You're not going to blame it on injury. You're a hockey player. You can never bring excuses into the equation, but
right.
That's a tough one to deal with. It really, because there's so much on the shoulders.
Yeah, like you said, I don't want to, that's not the reason I had a tough year, but it sucks, It's never fun dealing with injury stuff, and, a shoulder in particular as a defenseman, like you said, we're getting hit a lot. And
you're taking contact up so often.
Yeah, a lot of forechecks coming at you.
Yeah.
And, teams can smell the blood in the water, too, sometimes, too. So it was tough, but, like I said, I'm excited to go into this offseason healthy and do some good things in the gym and come back next year healthy and hopefully have a fully healthy 82 game season.
So there's no rehab process that you have to deal with any cleanup procedures or anything?
No,
That's
I'm
huge.
good to go. Yeah, I'm going to go. So
You can train,
right.
not recover.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, big difference.
Yeah, it's something that I'm definitely looking forward to, and I think just that injury, it took a little wind out of my sails. Maybe stopped some of my momentum a little bit, but I'm looking forward to next season already, and excited to get going. So
You've dealt with adversity before, people telling you,
oh yeah,
and you've used it as a motivating factor. You're going to use that again. That's fuel.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
gasoline.
It's a dangerous thing to put a chip on an athlete's shoulder. So
Yeah, a competitor.
Right. I'm excited.
The way you guys finished the season as a team, I thought was very interesting because you guys knew you weren't going to the playoffs. Those games didn't mean a whole heck of a lot.
Right.
But did you guys, as a group, finish with integrity and honesty in the way you played the game? And maybe the result wasn't there every night. It was there a lot of nights down the stretch, right down to the final seconds of the freaking game, the last game of the year, the 5-4 loss against Buffalo. But finishing it with integrity is a cultural mindset that's very important. Mm-hmm. You were part of a World Junior team that won gold against a very good Team Canada that year. That team had a culture.
Yeah.
You need culture to win.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't going nowhere without it.
No. I mean, that's what I love about this team so much is we fight every single night, regardless of the situation, our lineup. Every guy, can confidently look to the guy next to him and know that he's going to go all out for him that night. And that was our mindset down the stretch. Like, coach gets fired, three of our probably
Core players
get traded at the deadline. Like, that can hurt a locker room, and it did in its own ways, but it didn't change our mindset where we wanted to come out every night and win the game. So that's just what I love about that group so much, and what makes playing for this team and city so much fun.
This part of the rebuild is now the addition stage. There's been so much subtraction since Danny took over. 35 players played in that season. Chuck Fletcher's last season. 19 have now departed over that time. Yeah. I don't think many of those have been replaced with equal or better. Mm-hmm. But now is the time to start adding more. Right. For you as a player, you want to win. I mean, you want to win, but you hate to lose. Mm-hmm. You're tired of it. How exciting is it that's the phase you're entering now?
Right. Yeah. This is when you start to get really, really excited. I think I've been here quite a few years now, and we haven't had the success that we've wanted to have, but like you said, hopefully with a few additions this offseason, things can change for us, and we can be a playoff team. So I think every guy in that locker room knows that we have the talent to be a playoff team. We just got to do it on a more consistent basis for 82 games. But I know a lot of guys are excited for this next chapter of this team's future, and
it's the ascension stage.
Exactly. Yeah. We're excited, and I'm already looking forward to next year. So
yeah, no doubt about it. You also have contract situation.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
How do you kind of handle that? Is this agent do your thing, keep me in the loop on what you need to keep me informed on? How do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean he'll keep me in the loop, but I just want to fish and
hockey.
work out.
Yeah.
Like off season, it's my time to mentally reset, and I think that's a big factor. So
get on the water, man.
I'm gonna be fishing probably with no cell service and doing my workouts. So I'm looking forward to the summer. But in terms of contract stuff, I like to just kind of push that to the side, and everything will
it'll work its way out.
Yeah, it'll work its way out. So
what kind of fishing? Freshwater, saltwater?
A little bit of both. Me and my dad, we do a trip up to Utah. We do a lot of freshwater trout fishing.
Yeah, a lot of solitude out there,
good.
man. Whew.
And then we do some ocean fishing too. When the bluefin and mahi come into our waters, we like to go out and do that. So it's a blast, man. Fishing is one of my favorite things to do, to kind of just get away from everything. And
that's how you unplug.
It's great, yeah. So
it's the rocking of the boat out in the ocean.
Nothing better.
Get some chum in there. Oh man, you're
Yeah.
pumping me up. I love it too. Like
Do you fish a lot in the summer?
I used to for kids.
Okay.
Bluefish and flounder.
Oh yeah.
Getting out there. Going out to the Avalon Shoals and,
Oh, yeah.
and dropping some lines there. And
I've never
Tuna.
fished on this coast. I've always wanted to do some tuna fishing out here or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
striper
7
fishing.
miles out of Avalon, the Avalon Shoals, great spot.
That's what I heard. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard some great things, but never had the opportunity to
You
go.
only dropped it in the Pacific.
Only in the Pacific.
We got to get a line in the
I
Atlantic.
know. Atlantic's next.
Absolutely. Cam, enjoy the fishing, enjoy the summer with dad and family and everything else, decompress. Looking forward to next year because you're going to be coming in with a chip. I
yeah.
love when a guy comes in with a chip on his shoulder.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks to Cam York for taking the time to drop by Flyers Daily for an exit day conversation. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. We'll be back Friday. We'll have Garnet Hathaway, which is a fascinating discussion with the Brown University alum. So look forward to that coming up on Friday. We'll see if we have a head coach named by Friday. If not, we'll continue the conversation. If so, maybe the new head coach will be on the show. We'll see when things pop. But everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on a brand new Flyers Daily.